happening in the Mediterranean. In the last week, something like 10,000 people have crossed, mostly from Libya to heading for Italy. 400 have drowned. The criticism that's growing is that the EU is failing to act. Is that right? And if you're not failing, what are you doing?
You missed a couple of briefings where we discussed, but Natasha is here to round up again the...
Thank you. First, on the figures, maybe to provide a little bit of clarity, since last Friday, 7,850 migrants have been rescued at sea in the Mediterranean by the Italian Coast Guard. There is absolutely no reliable information suggesting, as is reported by many media, on this boat containing 400, so I would be very cautious on offering comments on that for the moment. More generally, of course, we know that the situation is grave, and we almost brace ourselves in the knowledge that it will only get worse in the weeks and months to come, notably as the weather improves and the instability and conflict in our neighbourhood endures. It's also time that we were frank. The European Commission cannot alone do it all. Yes, we are putting all our energy into developing a new comprehensive approach on managing migration, which, as we've said many times, we will be coming forward with in May, moved up from July. But no, we do not have a silver bullet or any kind of panacea that is going to make the situation go away like that, and no amount of finger pointing is going to change that.
Follow up?
But the criticism is that right now the operation that you have, Triton, is insufficient. So what can you do about that now, I guess is the question.
Frontex, you should know, is not a search and rescue body. What Frontex is an assistance body that provides assistance to the member states. Joint operation Frontex is just that, a joint operation. This is the European Union assisting Italy in their responsibility to manage the external borders. If we want to change what Frontex fundamentally is, then it's going to take a little bit more time. We have Operation Triton, which has been a very successful operation. No, it does not equal the operation that Italy itself was running before, but it is an exact response to what Italy has asked for. Every financial assistance that they asked for and every in-kind assistance that they asked for, they have got.
Yes.
There have been some claims made that Mare Nostrum should be reactivated. Is the Commission thinking about doing so?
To be clear, Mare Nostrum had nothing to do with the Commission. Mare Nostrum was an Italian military operation that was in nowhere within our realm of competence. So when this ended, it happened to be at the same time that the joint operation Frontex was launched in cooperation with the Italians at their request, providing the assistance that they requested.
Jean-Jacques.
Oui, sur le même sujet, puisque
on the subject, because things are going to get worse before they get better, as you say. Has there been no request from member states to act on the question that's been raised? In other words, the increasing number of migrants making the crossing with an increasing number of accidents. Does the Commission have any new ideas or more immediate ideas on the issue? And have Member States made any requests to that effect, individually in groups? Have there been any changes at all in the current dynamic that we've seen up until last week? Well, as you know, the situation has changed in terms of what we're actually confronted with at the moment. Obviously, we're in touch with Member States. We have to be clear today that the Commission has neither the funds nor political support to create a European system which would carry out search and rescue operations. However, preparing an agenda on migration in Europe will be an opportunity which we seize to discuss these possibilities and to gauge how far it might be desirable to increase the budget of the Frontex agency and also to increase its staffing and human resources in order to meet the growing challenges which are emerging on the frontiers of the European Union.
Natasha, I do appreciate very much that you're saying what we all know, that it is not the Commission that must have the silver bullet. But nonetheless, somebody's got to do something, because member states are not doing anything at all. Most of the member states do not care about the problems. Most of the medias do not care about the problem. And the agenda for the migration will be possibly a very good text, but will not act before the summer. We will have thousands of people crossing our little channel, and hundreds probably we will die. So isn't it about the time that somebody in the Commission shows his political role, raises his hand and says, come on, we must stop, you, the member states, must stop it. We've done all what we can do. It's about time that somebody does something. We've been looking at this for 3 years, and of course it's not the fault of the Commission, but isn't it about the time that you raise your hand and said, you, member states, you must stop it?
The answer to this question is yes, it's high time. This Commission took over on the 1st of November. It's in terms of age, it's a baby, but this is something that was part of the Juncker political guidelines. This is the priority of priorities. This is one of the 23 initiatives that we have put in our work program for this year, and we are working now intensively. The first Vice President Timmermans and Commissioner Avramopoulos were working together to finalize this very important initiative, migration agenda. It's a question of weeks. So I think that you are preaching to the converted when you are asking this Commission to act. We will act. But we have to do it, and I agree with you that the sheer magnitude of the problem is not necessarily something that can wait for our agenda, but this is, as Natasha very rightly said, this is not all in our hands. Yes, Christian, vas-y. J'ai vu que mon appel sur beau temps vous a pas inspiré.
I see you didn't draw inspiration from my appeal to enjoy the nice weather. Let me come back to and extend on Marco's question. Now, for years we've understood that the European Commission, of course, was not entirely in control of this issue. All you can do is come up with proposals. The responsibility lies with member states. Well, they have been pushing this issue. And I remember that some months ago, in this room, there was a commissioner who was responsible of this, who was courageous enough to say that we should avoid the siren calls of populism and start acting. We're going to have an extraordinary summit, one of the rare ones, devoted to migration following the Lampedusa tragedy. Now, Mr. Juncker was Prime Minister of Luxembourg at the time. He's now President of the Commissioner, so is he proud of Europe and the behaviour of his former colleagues? Does he believe that member states are doing enough? And my second question is this: might it not be time at some stage to separate the Mediterranean out from the rest of the pressure of migratory flows? There are going to be thousands and thousands and thousands, because basically it's only a handful of migrants arriving via the Mediterranean. Should we separate out that from other areas to find a solution? Because of Dublin, we're now closed in thanks to Dublin. Solidarity has been drowned in the Mediterranean. And now we see the rise of the Front National and other parties of a similar nature. So I'm wondering about the political response on this agenda. For the first of your question, I'll pass on. Let me tell you about the President's judgment of his experience as a Prime Minister. This is not to be seen as the same as the judgment of Luxembourg voters on him as Prime Minister. But for the second point, I'll give over the floor to Natasha. I think we should note that the only way we can really change the situation in the Mediterranean is to deal with the problem at source, because insofar as we have instability in Libya, Syria and Iraq, migrants will try to come to Europe. And that is why a large proportion of the approach we're adopting at the moment will be based on cooperation with third countries. With that in mind, the college will be receiving a visit from the European African Union. Last week, a commission is visiting Morocco today and tomorrow, and there are planned visits to Egypt and Tunisia over the next couple of weeks in order to develop a more cooperative approach on these issues.
Anything else for today, Damien?
Dealing with the issue at source in places like Syria will obviously take years to do. Is there anything to stop you asking now for more resources for Frontex and Triton for the Mediterranean?
As I said, at this point in time, the Commission has neither the money nor the political support to launch a European border guard system that would be able to do search and rescue operations. However, the preparation of this agenda on migration is the opportunity for us to look at whether it is feasible, desirable to increase both the budgetary and operational resources that the European Border Agency Frontex has at its disposal.
You have to wait that I give you the floor. Go ahead.
Thanks. You said a little earlier that the situation has changed. The question is, can you ask now for more resources now for Frontex? Can you do that yourselves?
This is something that obviously we would have to discuss with the member states. We do not have the European Union budget at this stage. Frontex has 90 million euros a year as a budget on average. That is not enough.
C'est toi, Anne, là, au fond?
Alors, est-ce que vous pouvez nous expliquer?
Can you explain this? There's no money for Frontex, 90 million euros. Okay, yesterday the Budget Committee in the European Parliament explained it wanted to transfer 21 billion euros that were unused in 2014. So, to be very frank, apparently there's a lot of money around, but it is under budget headings where it's not being used, and it's useless. But where it could be used, nothing's been done. So I repeat my colleague's question: what prevents you from asking for fresh money for Frontex? Because obviously the situation is going to get difficult over the summer. Nothing stops us from doing that per se. We didn't say that the Commission is not going to continue to press for more resources. That's what we said. That's the path we've decided to pursue, and in order to trigger budgetary procedures, you have to come forward with specific proposals and engage with the Parliament and the Council, and we believe that the moment to do so will be shortly, when the new initiative, mainly our migration agenda, will be presented by the College. That will be an opportunity to look again overall to all the various dimensions which have impact directly on the major migration crisis that we're seeing at the moment in the Mediterranean. David.
Oui, merci.
Thank you. Nasha says there's no political support or resources to launch a search and rescue operation, if I've understood correctly. Now, from a political point of view, on this issue, will the Commission wait until support is forthcoming for this initiative on the part of Member States, or, as it were, does it intend to play a leadership role? It's the third time we've said it's the Commission that comes up with proposals, but we explain that the context in which we make those proposals also requires that Member States make contributions, and we have to look to the general political context around us, which is rapidly deteriorating. I don't think there's a simple solution to this. We have to look at all the various aspects which come into play.
See you tomorrow. I have to apologize because I have to get a plane, but all our spokespersons are here and, as usual, in your disposal for the background part of this briefing. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.